What is going on, everybody? Welcome back, Dudes Who Bet Daily, December 15th, 2022. Before we get going, Papa and Dude and I would like to apologize to Aaron. The Senators, who probably should have covered the goal and a half, the mass majority of that game, don't get it done, and he ends up calling the Canucks plus 150. Aaron, how you feeling this morning?
Oh, it's not your guys' fault. I was literally just back and forth all morning between playing the Senators minus a goal and a half and playing the Canucks just straight to win. So I'll let you guys break the tie. And in pure fashion for me on this show, everything I say before the best bet wins. And then everything, that I said is the best bet. It's just been a bad streak. But you're right, guys. How can I be mad? The Senators were up 3-0 with 11 minutes to go in that hockey game and gave up 2 goals and then missed 2 empty nets by about that much. So it is what it is. Canucks probably were lucky to win that game last night. Got it done late in a shootout. But, hey, at least we talked about the Canucks.
Yeah, There we go. Hopefully some people got in on that plus 150. Today we're going to kick off the show with a little Thursday night football. Really interesting matchup here in this spot. The 49ers laying 3.5, headed into Seattle. Total sitting at 44.5. We get a first true road test for Brock Purdy here in a tough place to play in Seattle. But Seattle has really been wilting down the stretch here, Papa Dude. What do you think about this one?
I think this is an elimination game for Seattle. I think they have to win to make the playoffs because they are fading. This will drop them to 7-7. Aaron and I talked about it last night on our show. You got the Commanders and the Giants ahead of them, and then a fast closing, believe it or not, Detroit Lions team. So if they lose this one, they're in big trouble. It's a game that you're right. We don't know how Brock Purdy's going to react on the road, but the 49ers are so good everywhere. Their defense is so tough. I think I like the under a little bit on this, 44.5. I think they shut down Seattle. Say they hold them to 17, and they're not. I can't see the Niners scoring more than 24, maybe. What do you think, Mike? Are you kind of looking at the under?
My initial reaction was under here. The first game of the year was 27-7 San Francisco. And San Francisco had more opportunities in the first half to score points. They actually kicked a field goal from the Seattle 15, from the Seattle 2. They turned it over in Seattle's territory on downs. So it could have been a lot uglier than it actually was. To me, this is really a story of what we think the Seattle defense is going to be able to do. They've got 4 rookies starting. They seem to have hit a rookie wall, Aaron, where you just they're playing more games than they ever have in the past. College season's a lot easier with, you have 11 games, but it's spread over 13 weeks, a massive break before the bowl games. Now you're playing every single week in the NFL. Do you think Seattle's defense is going to be able to step up in this spot, or do you kind of agree with Papa Dude here? It's more the under spot.
I don't think Seattle's defense is going to play all that well. The one thing, and I've watched a lot of Seattle this year, the one thing they really struggle with is stopping the run. And what does San Francisco do really well? They stop the run, or they run the ball, very well. And so I think that's a bad matchup. Here's the big thing. Deebo Samuel being hurt, listen, I don't know how much more the San Francisco Niners offense can take before it finally has one of those games where it's like, oh, wow, they're bad, right? Boy, I bet they are thrilled they have Christian McCaffrey now because they've got to just rely on him in this game. It's a tricky one. Seattle's got to be desperate to get a win here. The Niners could lose and still win the division. I'm still going to lean Niners. I just think they're better everywhere else than Seattle. I think that Seattle offense has kind of been figured out after they've seen it on film a few weeks. It's not bad, but it's kind of been figured out. And I don't think they're going to be able to score enough to win. I'll take the Niners.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I kind of lean taking the points with the Seahawks, but I think the Niners are going to win, especially if you can catch 3.5. Mike mentions in the chat here, is able to snag 3. I don't know what I'd do at 3. That to me is where this game should be lined, and that extra half point makes it a little bit of a struggle. My best bet actually came from this game, so I'll jump into it while we're talking about it. And I'm kind of with Aaron here. I looked at McCaffrey's rushing total; it was 80 yards. I looked at his total offense; it was 115. I like the Niners just as a team over 148 rushing is my best bet of the day here. If you look, Seattle is the second most rushing yards per game given up at $160. That first game I mentioned, San Francisco ran the ball 48 times and threw it 24. I think you're going to see a similar game plan here. And in the last 4 games, the Seahawks have given up 223, 171, 263, and 161 on the ground, all of which go over to the Panthers, the Rams, the Raiders, and the Bucks, all of which are worse running teams than the Niners here. So I'm going to take the Niners over 148.5 yards rushing as a team tonight.
I did not know your bet, but that's exactly like my strongest opinion is they're going to run the ball all over them. And listen, you got a quarterback that, he first of all, he's questionable to play in Brock Purdy. And second of all, like you said, he's on the road for the first time. You're going to lean towards that running game, and you can get away with it because this defense is not great against the run. I think it's a good bet.
Yep,
and
me too.
To Papa Dude's point as well, Thursday night unders have been exceptionally well this year, and they've been strong over the last 3 years as well, simply because of the lack of time to prepare. Last thing on this game before we move on, I think it's really interesting how over the last 4 years, Seattle went, or the last 5 years, Seattle went 8-2 against the Niners against the spread. They lost that first game. They had owned this Niners team. That was with Russell Wilson. Geno struggled with him week one. It's going to be interesting to see if you see that trend continue with Seattle playing well against the Niners, or if the Niners are able to start their own trend with this better team of theirs. We'll have to see. Brock Purdy, I heard, is on the injury report. Jesse mentioned he may not play tonight, but from what I've heard, he is going to go, or at least, and I think that even pushes the run more to the forefront here.
Right.
Yep.
All right, let's jump over.
I would just say this. The line hasn't changed, right?
No.
So Vegas thinks he's going to play.
Yeah, it's been 3.5 most of the week. You've seen some rogue threes pop up here and there, and they get snapped up very quickly when it goes to 3, which I think is probably the right thing. I mean, at Seattle 3.5, I think has a little value. I think San Francisco 3 is probably the correct line, but it's one that's so razor thin with two teams that I think are tough to really figure out how they're going to play tonight that it's hard to bet aside for me.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump onto the ice here. We got the Stars -115 taking on the Capitals. One of the lead stories in the NHL for the next 2 years is going to be Ovi trying to chase down Gretzky. I don't know if you guys heard this. He actually copyrighted the great GR8 chase today. Wow. So we're going to see some great chase memorabilia coming out from Ovi over the next 2 years. Awesome to see him get 800 on a hat trick. They're playing the Stars tonight at home. Stars -115, total at 6. What do you think here, Aaron?
I tell you what, I want to talk about Ovechkin for a second. Heather and I went to a Blues Capitals game. The Capitals were in town for the game. It happened to be on my birthday. And we sat down real low right by the Washington bench. And he was right on the end. And we were just like 2 seats away from him. And by the end of that game, Heather and I just shook our heads like, that's our favorite player in this game. Like, it was so fun just to watch him. He was so good. Every time he was on the ice, it's like, damn, this is what a great player looks like. I loved Ovechkin after that game. I think he's awesome. This guy, I'm telling you what, this guy's old, right? And they were terrible at the time. We went and watched them. He was into it. He was a leader on that bench. It was awesome. Thankfully, he missed a shootout goal that would have beat us, and we ended up winning. So anyway, I'll get off of Ovechkin here. I'm going to take the Stars in this game. The Capitals have been playing great. I get it. They're on a big-time roll since that Blues game, really. I think they're kind of due to lose one. They're coming back off of a couple of nice road wins. This is the 3rd road game in a row for the Stars. They won in New Jersey a couple of nights ago. That's a really good win for them. I'll take the Stars here. I think the Stars are going to get it done tonight.
Not so fast, my friend. Give me the Caps. I'll take the -105 on the Caps. I do think it's going to be a very good game, but I think the Capitals, the home ice advantage, I think is going to be the difference here. That Washington Stadium, actually a pretty good place to see a hockey game. There, you got some pretty rabid fans there, and I got to give you props on those by the bench seats. Probably one of the more underrated seats in an NHL stadium. People don't realize how much fun it is to sit right behind or right next to those benches to hear the chatter.
Yes.
I was fortunate enough to sit in between the benches in LA. They have special 8 seats right there. Oh, it's a blast to hear them just screaming at each other during the game as well.
That's pretty much where we were at. We were right behind that special 8 because the Blues have it too. And you're right. At first, we got there. I was like, oh man, we're not gonna be able to see in these corners very well. Forget about it. Who cares? Yeah, it was way worth it.
Yeah.
That Kuntsnev, number 92 for Washington, he literally threw his gum right at us once. He didn't mean to. He just took it out and threw it up in the stands. I'm like, oh my god, this is nuts.
You put that on eBay?
No, I did not. Another looked at it like,
if it had been Ovechkin, she put it on eBay.
Yes,
there you go. Yeah. Papa Dude, what do you like here? Stars, Caps.
Well, I'll break the tie. I'm going Capitals too. I think Dallas to lose one myself. This is a game I'm really interested in watching tonight. This will be a really good one. I tell you what, a couple of things. I guess I don't follow it quite as closely. I didn't think anyone was remotely close to Gretzky in goals scored. Anybody current. I was shocked when I saw a few weeks ago he had that many goals. I didn't realize it. And you remember about 3, 4, 5 years ago, they were going to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Whenever that was going around, they thought he was washed up, and he was like on the third line, I think, and he was on the trading block. They weren't playing very well, and boy, he has played great since then. I've always liked him. I've always thought he was fun to watch because he's mean. He's just got that mean look. I don't know if he's mean or not, but he just looks like a bear, man. He's tough. My wife hates him. Hates him. She hates the Capitals because of him. I love to watch him play, and I kind of root for him just to make her mad. But, yeah, I like the Caps tonight. I think this is going to be a classic. Dallas is really good. They're quietly really good. They don't get the ink, I think, that Boston does and the Devils and Toronto. They're just really, really an even keel team, a very, very good team. So this will be a great game tonight.
I was at the Carolina Hurricane, Washington Capitals playoff game where Ovi knocked Svechkin out cold and knocked him out of the series in a fight. Literally in a fight, not knocking him on the boards. There are not many people that can chase a goal record that are also knocking people out cold in a playoff game during a fight. I mean, it's amazing the longevity that he's had because he's putting up 40 a year because that's how he's going to get to Gretzky. It's not these 70-goal seasons or 60-goal. No, it's just every year we're putting 40 in the back of the net. He obviously had a couple 50s where he got the Rocket Richard trophy for most goals in the NHL. But, man, this is a longevity story, Aaron.
Yeah.
His size, guys, is incredible. When you see him up close, it's like, oh, he's bigger than everybody else almost on the ice. And I think that's a big part of it too.
What is he? Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
As someone who played hockey too, I have no clue how he can be so good with his skates basically off his feet. I mean, they are the loosest ice skates I've ever seen on an NHL player.
Wow. So what is he, 94 goals short? 94? Something like that?
It's about 80 or so right now. I think Gretzky's what?
Gretzky's got 894, I think.
Is it 894? Okay. Yeah, so he's 95 short then. He's at 800 right now.
Okay, so 3 years probably, right? Maybe probably 2, but he's still got a lot this year.
He's got 20 goals this season. So
let's say he puts in 25 more, which that's not unrealistic. Gets him within 70 roughly. And so 2 more years, 35 goals each year, as long as he stays healthy. He can do it, and I never thought that would ever be broken. Never.
By the way, Somich, I want to mention, Heather she's sitting over here listening to it. She texted me and she said, did Somich just say he has loose skates? Because that's one of the first things she noticed about him. She didn't. Yeah.
It is wild. And so he's also getting up. I mean, his rookie card is in 03, I believe. No, 07. So he's been in the league for about 15 years now. Start buying your Capitals tickets for 24-25 season. That's when he'll break it at some point there. Yeah. All right, let's head over to a game that Aaron requested. Second day in a row. He asked for a specific game here. We're going to talk Sabres, Avs. Avs minus 190. I'm guessing you're going with Buffalo here, Aaron. Am I right?
That's right. Yes, I am going with Buffalo. Listen, this is not priced right. The Avalanche are not what they were last year. It's priced based on that reputation. You described Buffalo perfectly. They're Johnny Tryhards. They really are. They got that great player in Tage Thompson, and the rest of them just work their butts off. They're going to come in here and give them everything they want. I think it's Buffalo like plus 160. I think the last time I saw it may have changed, but that was this morning. It's priced wrong. I'm telling you, if you want to take a shot at a price here, I would take a shot at Buffalo. I think it's wildly priced wrong. I would take the Sabres tonight. I think it's a toss-up game.
I'm seeing plus 185 or plus 190, depending on where plus 155 or plus 160, depending on where you want to play it right now. I looked at the over in this one, but decided not to fire on it. After that, I passed. I kind of agree with you. I think it is mispriced, but I'm still a little scared to bet against the Avs, and I think I'm just getting 10 cents of value. Papa Dude, what do you think here?
I kind of agree with you, Mike, but Colorado is getting overvalued. But then, there's other games that are undervalued, right? We've seen it undervalued a couple of times too. So I don't think Vegas knows what to do with them right now. They've got the potential to just bust out of it and get going. And I just don't think they kind of know where this team is at. right now too. So I think the Sabres have got a good shot to win tonight, no doubt.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting, you hear about it in the stock market a lot, trying to catch the falling knife, right? When you see it, when you're trying to call the bottom. With this Avs team, at some point, they're going to start rolling. The question is when, and do you really want to try and predict that and try and bet them at the probably a decent, like you could make an argue that if this was the Avs teams of last year, this should be minus 210, right? But it's not. And so it's an interesting spot where you're trying to kind of figure out, okay, which side of this are we on and how is this going to go forward for the Avs? All right, let's jump over to the NBA here. We've got the Bucks headed into Memphis, taking on the Grizzly. Grizzly -2 tonight, 226.5. I think it's a wildly interesting game. Memphis, very good at home, Papa Dude. This one should be a lot of fun. Did you think about playing this game?
A little bit, simply because the line's pretty low, if you like Memphis. And they play great at home. You know they're going to be ready for this. The Bucks have had some tough games of late. Could be a little tired, maybe. This is going to be really a good one. Right here before Christmas, you know, they're trying to establish who's good, who's not. This is a big game for Memphis down the road. So I like the Grizzlies tonight at home. They play great. And -2, I would go with the Grizzlies tonight to beat the Bucks.
This is one of my action games. I put 0.2 units on the Grizzly tonight because I wanted to have some action on the game because I'm going to be watching it. Aaron, what do you think here?
Grizzlies, big.
I like it. My 0.2 units are happy about that Grizzlies big call. All right, let's jump over to one more game in the NBA. I picked this one out because I don't think I've ever seen this before. The Pelicans are laying one against the Jazz. Do you know who these teams played last time? Each other. Do you know where they played? In Utah, 2 nights later. So the Pelicans have been in Utah here for 4 nights now. I'm interested in the Pelicans -1 after getting blown out by the Jazz here at home. You get back to the elevation. You're used to it a little more for the second game. You got the revenge factor. I was shocked to see these two teams would play back-to-back games in Utah. And I like the fact that the Pelicans got blown out. I think it makes them a little more motivated tonight, Papa Dude. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good play for sure. I saw it the other night. There was another team that did it. I can't remember who it was, but maybe this is a new trend they're doing. I don't know, but that is strange to play back-to-back at the same place. Yeah, so that is weird. I like the Pelicans tonight also. The Jazz are good one night, not so good the other night, the next sometimes. They're playing great, though, for what everybody thought. They're hanging in there pretty good. But the Pelicans, I think, were due for a loss the other night. They got it. I think they'll come back tonight, too. So I like the Pelicans -1.
What do you think, Aaron?
Pelicans.
I love Aaron's NBA handicaps. Just really bringing the heat on him. All right, let's go race of the day. Head over to Gulfstream Park, race number 7. Before we do, let's talk about the race yesterday, Aaron. What a train wreck of a freaking race yesterday in the race of the day. We have an absolute pace meltdown. And Zayas, for some reasons, tries to take the rail. And your 25-1 2-horse cleans up the pieces and wins the race. How many expletives were you saying when Zayas decided to go behind the quitting speed?
There were so many weird things that happened at Gulfstream. This may have been the weirdest because it was like some of the races, like, well, there's nothing the jockey could have done. Like the horse that was supposed to win or at least run decent just didn't run. This one, it's like, you blew it, dude. Like you had the best horse in this race. And it's just like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what they think sometimes. And of course, I'm never going to ride a horse. So I don't know what that view's like for them, but it's not my job to ride one either, is what I say sometimes too. So I don't know. I don't have an explanation for that one, Somich, and I don't have an explanation for much that happened yesterday at Gulfstream.
Yeah, that one pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. As someone who liked the Val quite a bit, that one pissed me off when we decided to go inside the quitting speed. All right, let's head over to the 7s today at Gulfstream Park. This was supposed to be the return of Colonel Liam, but we're now on the synthetic, going a mile and 70 yards, not on the turf. We've got a handful of scratches out here. Your favorite Chuck Willis is out. Obviously, Colonel Liam is out. But I still think it's a pretty interesting race. Deep field. Who do you like here on top, Aaron?
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty darn good race. I went with a price. I've got a little play here on the number 3 Skyro. That's what I'm going to put on top. Has never touched the synthetic. Obviously, that is a little bit concerning. However, let's look at some of these races this horse has been in. They've been pretty tough and at pretty tough tracks. Allowance races on the dirt at Churchill, or on the turf at Churchill Downs and Keeneland. A stakes race at Kentucky Downs. Now we're here at we're not here at Gulfstream Championship meet yet. It's kind of that in-between meet still. This is a lower grade of horses that Skyro is going to face today. I think if he takes to the synthetic, he's going to be tough. I think with all the scratches, he's got a shot to get a pretty lonely lead out there. I think Skyro's going to get it done at a price. I'm going to go the number 3 horse here.
Definitely one that I used. I thought Skyro was pretty interesting in this spot. After the scratches, which you mentioned are key, we had 2 of our 4 speed horses go out. And we'll talk about the other one because I think it's an interesting gambling aspect of it. I was interested in what you were going to do with it on the turf as well. My top pick here, I'm going to go with the 4 horse, Hot Blooded, 9-2. Carlos David, Miguel Vasquez. Has those 2 synth races are both very good. One came off the turf, was able to win a state bred stakes the last time out. Just missed to me and Mr. C, who is a pretty good synthetic horse here at Gulfstream Park. Now we're getting second off the layoff. This is your proven horse on synthetic. I love 9-2. I'm not sure I'm getting 9-2 with all these different changes, but I think 9-2 is a great price on the 4.
I like the 4 as well. I think that's the very logical use in here, especially with the race coming off. And you're right. The race last time out over this track at this distance, pretty darn good. I mean, I don't know how you look at that one and say, well, I'm not going to use them. It just seems like off that last race, you're getting the same exact conditions. You got to kind of take a swing with the 4 here as well.
All right, let's talk about the 5 value proposition. 20-1 on the morning line here. Gets claimed out of the Chad Brown barn 2 back. Has clearly taken a downturn, but has numbers that tower over this field if somehow we can get back to him. Running multiple graded stakes, a ton of overnight stakes. Were you considering to use this horse on the turf before this came off? And what do you think now here that we're on the synthetic?
No and no.
Yeah,
I kind of hate this horse even before he got claimed or whatever happened and moved over to this barn. Just a money burner. Has won a couple. I get it, but is a favorite every race, and I don't know. I guess if you're like, all right, I'll take him now at 20-1, then go for it. But I had no interest on the turf, and I have no interest on the synthetic with this horse.
I'm interested to see what this horse would have gone off at on the turf because it wouldn't have been 20-1. I bet this horse got bet down if he was back on the turf. I'm interested to see what he goes off at now. I bet it's still around 12-1, something like that. And I think it's a burning money and burning bullets if you end up using this one here. So I'm glad we agree on that spot. All right, let's jump over best bets of the day. We'll kick it off here with Papa Dude's Daily Parlay. Who you got, Papa Dude?
Okay, going hockey tonight. Did well on hockey last night. Great effort by the Mavs against Cleveland. That was a disaster to lose my parlay. I'm going with reliable Boston against the Kings. Got the best team in the league at home. They don't lose there very often. This is the end of a huge road trip for the Kings. Game 6 on the road. Got to be a little weary. Did not play well the other night, losing 6-0. They're 2-3 on the trip. I would say when they took off on this long trip to the East, 2-3 would have probably been about okay for them. I don't think they're going to play very well tonight. So I like the Bruins. I'm pretty sold on that one. So to get some value, we got to go to the Jets. Yeah, Winnipeg against the Nashville Predators tonight. 2 teams that are not playing real well. Winnipeg had been playing great, but they've lost their last 2, both at home. So they're due to come out of it and win tonight. The Predators have lost 4 in a row. Are they tanking it? They've not looked good. You lose 4 in a row. Here's the problem. They don't lose hockey teams that are decent. They're decent. They don't lose 5 in a row very often. So that's the kicker for me. I think Winnipeg gets it done. I think they're going to play much better tonight. They've lost 2 straight at home. They're too good to lose 3 in a row. So I like the Jets, Bruins, money line parlay for plus 133 tonight.
All right, we get a Papa Dude parlay home here on a Thursday. Aaron, you're headed to the ice as well. Tell us about the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Panthers at home tonight against the Penguins. And listen, I get it. The Penguins have been extremely good lately. What have they got now? 6 in a row. It's time for them to lose. This is kind of the spot to me where they're gonna lose their first game on the road trip. That's always a tough one. And I think the Florida Panthers, they're up and down. Their best game will be Pittsburgh tonight. This is another one. I just think it's a little bit underpriced. I think the Florida Panthers should be a little bit more of a favorite in this one. I think it'll be a really fun game. In the end, I think the Panthers get it done. So I'm going to go Florida Panthers minus the 115. I think Pittsburgh's due to lose one. And I think the Panthers are kind of starting to play a little bit better hockey here of late. And I think they're about ready to get on a roll.
I like it. Better team, not a bad price. I like the Panthers tonight. My best bet was the Niners over 148.5 rushing yards. Talked about at the top of the show. So if you missed it, go back and check that out. Let's go over the best bets for the weeknight here and then sign off. Papa Dude, Jets and Bruins plus 133. Aaron, Panthers minus 115. I'm going to take the Niners over 148.5 rushing yards Thursday Night Football. 1 and 2 for the week, down $100, down 485 for the year. Got about 2 weeks left, so we got to get it going. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow, and all weekend. We got an action-packed weekend. We got NFL on Saturday. Got a lot of good betting options. Good luck with whatever you're playing, be it the horses or the sports. We'll see you tomorrow.